And we are live. Online magazines are surging in popularity. For the protective coatings and corrosion industry, that shift opens powerful new doors for global education, for engagement, and also digital transformation. Welcome to this edition of Coatings Talk Livestream, where we explore the trends shaping our industry and the platforms driving our conversations. Today, we're talking about the rise of online magazines, a format that's not just surviving in the digital age, but it's very much thriving in it. Now, according to recent reports from the publications industry, 65% of magazine content is now delivered digitally, and digital readership surpassed print for the first time in 2023. The global digital magazine market is projected to hit 41 billion in revenues by the end of this year, 2025, with nearly over 2 billion users expected by 2030. Now, that's not just a shift in format, that's a transformation in how we learn, connect, and share information and knowledge. For the protective coatings and corrosion sectors, this digital momentum offers a strategic opportunity. Online magazines allow both industries to deliver technical insights, to deliver case studies, and innovation spotlights directly to engineers, to specifiers, and importantly, decision makers. And that's across borders and across all time zones. Now, with 85% of magazines now incorporating multimedia content, we can blend video, interactive graphics, and expert commentary into immersive educational experiences. This isn't just about publishing, it's about building a legacy driven platform that elevates our industry's voice. It accelerates knowledge transfer and it inspires the next generation of materials, protective coatings, and corrosion professionals. So, my desire to launch Coatings Talk Insight in January 2026 as a digital publication, this stems from a clear need that still needs others to participate in. Our coatings and corrosion industries deserve a new platform that educates, that connects, and importantly, inspires across borders, disciplines, and generations. As protective coatings and corrosion professionals, we're navigating complex challenges from infrastructure that's aging and high numbers of subject matter experts that are retiring, as well as the growing digital transformation push that's coming, and importantly, a new focus on workforce development. Insight will be more than a digital magazine. It will be a strategic hub for coatings and corrosion leadership, technical clarity, and professional building. It's time we elevate the conversation and give the coatings and corrosion industries a voice that resonates beyond the blast and paint shop, that goes beyond the field and also beyond the boardroom. With the surge in digital readership and the growing appetite for multimedia content, Coatings Talk Insight will deliver modular, high impact stories that blend technical depth with global relevance. From expert interviews and predictive modeling breakthroughs to business sustainability spotlights and new technology innovations. Each bi monthly issue will be crafted to awaken and enlighten. And my goal is to create a digital publication that reflects both the coatings and corrosion industry's evolutions, one that is accessible, engaging, and built for the next generation of leaders. So January 2026 will be just the beginning. Okay, let's talk about the core sections that I really want to put into each issue of Insight. The first is on the what I would call a strategic primer. And this is going to be a focus on editorial. In that editorial, what I want to talk about are going to be global trends for both the protective coatings and corrosion industries, look at strategic reflections of both industries, and importantly, cover economic signals that are shaping both industries. And so, what I would like that to be is more of a letter style intro, thinking of those old editorials that you would read in trade publications and things like that. But it could also incorporate short video. And then I could also branch it out into audio, short audio series to be able to offer that primer out there for everyone to partake in and to listen to see, and also to read digitally. The next core section should be a technical frontline or tech frontline. And the focus here will be on innovations in protective coatings, corrosion control and protection, and also engineering solutions. And so for the format related to this is going to be more of the modular briefs. I also want to interview experts, the subject matter experts, both on the engineering side, the practical side, when we're talking about application of coatings or in the field with corrosion technicians, but also too, I want to make sure that I do talk to executives in the industry. Now that might take some time to get, but it's what I'm really kind of focusing on. And then product spotlights. I think it's really important to look at not only the existing technologies that we have, equipment, services, and things like that, but also to look at anything that's new, cutting edge, and innovative that's coming out. Recently, a very popular live stream I did was where I had Bob Dahlstrom from Appellix on their spray painting drone, and the feedback from that was incredible. And that was a really good interview with Bob Dahlstrom and learning a little bit more about where drone technology is taking us, especially when it comes to water jet cleaning and also too for spray painting with drones. Next, I want to focus on as a core is an inspection intelligence. And what I really mean on that, I want to focus on the advances in non-destructive testing, the NDT, also inspection protocols that are there, looking at standards both globally and also industry best practices when it comes to inspection protocols, different ways to go about inspection planning, and also to other types of forms of inspection when it comes to protective coatings and also on the corrosion side as well. And also field validation techniques, talking about what works out in the field. I think that's really important to cover. So some of this is going to be made available through case studies. There could be a Q&A with industry inspectors out there that I would put out. The next core section will be a global economics and business section, and it's going to focus on the market dynamics, even things dealing in the pricing psychology when it comes to how products are priced out in the marketplace. It's going to talk about the supply chain shifts that we had when it came to post-COVID or after COVID, when it came to the supply chain disruptions we had, how we dealt with that, how we're doing today, also to what potential shifts could happen in supply chain and how to best deal with that based off of what the industry and what others experts are telling us. And then focusing also too, I think, on basic business strategy. I think that's real important to talk about the aspects of the economics of anything from coating manufacturers to equipment manufacturers to suppliers and things like that. Talk about what current business strategies that are successful, but also looking at what's coming down the road, what shifts need to happen with businesses when it comes to sustainability for their business model. And that could be also dealt with and delivered, through commentary. I could be providing also to some industry reports and things like that. And then regionally looking at different regions or sectors, subsectors within coatings and corrosion and doing snapshots and talking about them. The next area is real important to me is dealing in specifications and standards. I want to have a spec and standards digest section, and that's going to provide updates on global standards, testing protocols that are new testing protocols, and also to do deep dives into the regulatory frameworks to make sure that everything's tied together, standards, testing protocols, and also state and federal and global type of regulatory requirements that are out there. There, I'm really thinking of producing infographics and then also some downloadable reference material in these different areas so that people can keep that with them and also refer to that information as they go through their day. The next area, core section I want to have is called Field Proven. And the focus there will be the real world applications and lessons learned from the field. I laugh all the time because for me, I'm not a pure field person. And I've come to realize from going into the field on projects that what seems to be on paper perfect isn't always the case when you get it in the field. And a lot of times there are workarounds that have to be done to correct what was on paper to be able to make it field worthy and to make it happen. So I do like to have that real world application and make sure that I do provide that information to everybody and educate and enlighten people there. But also, I think lessons learned from the field. I think there's so much value coming back from projects when things happen out in the field because everything in a lab can be perfect. And a lot of times in these project sites, nothing is ever perfect. So it's great to talk about that. And that could range from anywhere potential where it's possible, maybe some photo essays. That can be very difficult taking pictures on projects because of legal and other type of security things. But I think also too, looking at some of the field reports and some of the feedback that inspectors give to kind of generalize that. I think that field diary generalization is important. And then I think also too, getting expert commentary from people who are actually working out in the field to be able to provide some information related to real world applications and how things are done out in the field. For Inside Roundtable, which is going to be probably one of my most important type of core elements of the Insight Digital Magazine, this is going to focus really on anything from the technical programs that are out there, technical symposiums, also trade shows and global protective coatings and corrosion events. And there I really like doing the expert panels to talk about topics, but also looking to do coverage of industry events, key industry events, both in protective coatings and corrosion, to be able to provide recaps of that, previews and recaps of that. And I think from that, really some of the format are going to be key takeaways from these industry events, but also too, there will be some potential for me to interview individuals at these events and to embed that information into the digital publication. That's what's nice about digital publications, where you have the ability to link, but also incorporate video and other multimedia, make it very interactive. Now, the core is a very powerful magnet for the readers of Insight. And that being said, I really feel that an all gas, no brakes approach is really required for me to up the readership and the value, especially of Insight. So what I want to talk about next is rotating features, because I think adding value when it comes to adding additional levels and layers of content, and I call it rotating features, this is going to really kind of add a little bit of a plus for the viewers by providing some interactive and multimedia elements. And what I want to talk about related to the rotating features, these are going to be more of the alternative issues. They could be special editions that are released. Like I say, the magazine, digital magazine, will be a bi-monthly. So I think to also, during certain times of the year, to add a little bit extra value is to do some alternative issues or add some special editions into that. And I think these really deepen the engagement and allow for, themes to kind of really originate, but also be flexible. And this will set or maybe even reinforce coatings or corrosion themes that are covered in the digital magazine, or what's really kind of trending out there in both industries. Now, the first area that's really important for me is in digital transformation. And I have a feature I want to call Digital Transformation Watch. And this is really kind of covering intelligent technologies like artificial intelligence and looking at the aspects of how AI, how digital technologies, intelligent technologies, and digital transformation, why the coatings and corrosion industry really need to embrace it now and run with it hard. I think there's a lot of hesitation on incorporating digital transformation and intelligent technologies. But I think if I go out there and I talk about subjects such as digital twins, if you were able to, for example, you are a formulator and you come up with a great idea for a new, innovative, something that's very different in the industry when it comes to protective coatings technology, if you could actually do the formulation in artificial intelligence and create, let's say, a digital twin of that coating formulation, you can make it in the lab, make it in the production, and run it through testing. But if you could create a digital twin of that where you're doing it physically, but you're doing it now digitally, and to be able to run different type of aspects to it, permeations and different type of tests that would be done, and then it would give you the information, give you the output for it. The other thing related to digital twins, which is nice, if you had a piece of equipment, something that's very cutting edge, innovative, you make the equipment and you use a digital twin to push the equipment to maybe some limit, or you test it for some type of hardiness. To instead of sacrificing the equipment, you utilize a digital twin to give you that information. And I think also what's important related to digital transformation is data-driven workflows that are really needed in coatings, and also in inspection as well when it comes to inspection. Another area I think is what I call sustainability and resilience. Now, I am talking about eco-friendly materials. I'm talking about using things that are very environmentally friendly. Also, too, I think that it really provides a lot of value for corporations who are what you're trying to say, hey, we really are protecting the environment. We're using these eco-friendly materials. And to really find a way to utilize those type of technologies and materials. What I call life cycle economics is to be able to show value to owners, to the global industries out there, that there are other ways than traditional coating systems to look at some of these cutting edge, innovative type of technologies with coating systems. And the same aspect, I think, when it comes to in the cathodic protection and corrosion protection side, but to be able to provide that life cycle economics to show the value and to be able to show sustainability, resilience in the life cycle, longer life cycles, but also to apply that to infrastructure. I think that's really critical and very important. The next area I think really is important, and this came from really discussions that we had, side discussions during the SSPC PA2 panel discussion, which is I'm in a section, or not a section, but a additional value material I want to offer, or content, excuse me, is called legacy builders. And I think, discussions that I've had, and I brought this up before, in the coatings industry, for example, we have a lot of pioneers. They're in their 80s, they're in their 90s. And these are pioneers that were really innovators for our current modern age of protective coatings. And they're still around. Some are still actively engaged within the coatings industry. And they have a lot of experience. They have a lot of knowledge. They have a lot of passion still, is to do profiles on those industry pioneers and those innovators, and also the educators too, to help showcase that to the younger generation, to the young professionals, to the younger generation that's taking over, and to really showcase what a future in protective coatings and corrosion protection can offer young professionals. And then going from there, I think another area is going to be a spotlight on young professionals. I think to identify the emerging voices that are in anything from engineering to inspection, corrosion science. They work in the protective coatings field, specifications, whatever it might be in both coatings and corrosion, to really spotlight those young professionals, because I think that's important for other young professionals to see this individual doing so well in coatings or corrosion. And wow, it's a career that I never thought of, because as many of us will say, we were never born to be coatings or corrosion professionals. We were thrown into the mix, and we fell in love with it that way. And I think that's important to be able to showcase exactly what both industries really offer young professionals moving forward. Behind the brand, I think it's important to focus on also companies that are driving innovation and they're really making an impact globally, and to, irregardless of who it might be, talk about maybe something that a particular coating manufacturer, material producer, equipment manufacturer, service provider, something that's really behind their brand, something innovative that they're doing. I think that's important to also share and talk about. And then another area too, where I wanted to focus on, is some storytelling when it comes from field stories, and also to lighten things up, look for things that might be humorous and maybe dramatic related to both the coatings and corrosion industry. So to kind of do kind of a diary type of sharing of stories, I think that's important as well. And then an important additional content area for me is what I call Ask the PCS. And this is where I think where readers submit questions and they can be answered with strategic clarity and also technical insight. Again, not giving people giving away free consulting, but to basically be able to give them some general information to help them maybe look other areas or maybe even professionals they need to contract or work with as well, because the rising tide lifts all boats. And I really do believe in promoting any aspect of our industries, both coatings and corrosion. There will be interactive and multimedia elements. This December 2nd, we have the Coatings Talk Symposium. Right now, registrations are doing very well. So everybody keep registering. I would love to have a few hundred people to be on December 2nd. And hopefully it'll be either a 4 or 6 hour online event with technical presentations, some panel discussions, some maybe potential networking as best we can do it online for networking opportunities. And I really want to make sure that this is something that catches on, and I'd like to do it every year to kind of wrap up the year and do something online like this. Also to keep submitting abstracts. I do have some abstracts to go through. So if you have a technical idea, what you want to do is to 100 words or less, just give me an idea regarding coatings, corrosion, and what you want to present as a technical presentation. And just you can DM me that through the channel, or you can do it through LinkedIn. You can also email me at jim@procoattech.com. But I'll put that information also too in the chat. And I think the other thing is to really take elements of Coatings Talk Insight and incorporate that within the Coatings Talk live stream to provide polls out there, to do surveys. And importantly, I think it's good for me to benchmark and really get reader feedback, because the goal for me for the digital magazine is to grow the viewership and also to expand it globally as well, and to make sure that I'm capturing a wide breadth of the both industries. There'll be an area I think that we can add regarding if people want to post photos from the field where they're allowed to, obviously, and things like that. And then maybe we'll be looking at some other type of things when it comes to visiting demonstrations that are done for blasting, painting, corrosion demos and things like that. I will put together a global events calendar and also make sure that I do provide information regarding to those global events, but making sure that I put enough information out there for when they have call for abstracts and also for registration links for people to register. I think it's important for people in our industry when there are these global events, these the AMP conference and other type of events, to make sure that they are submitting abstracts. They are talking about their passion and talking about topics and things like that, because it really does help elevate our industry, but also too, I think it helps us when it comes to young professionals. And then additionally, we'll probably have some downloadable resources that are available, and then make sure that that's readily available for everything. But really, kind of what I want to do when you look at the branding aspect of it, I really want to position Coatings Talk Insight and make it a global voice for protective coatings and corrosion control and inspection strategy. Kind of looking at the aspect of how coatings are used, basically how corrosion is mitigated, and importantly, when it comes to the inspection, specification writing, and things like that. So for brand pillars, I kind of wrote down some things related to my ideas for brand pillars, and really to have that the magazine needs to have that identity, but it also needs to be reinforced to become a leader in the field. And some of the areas that I wrote down here was on the protective coatings and clarity. And what I mean by that is that when I want to have this done as a magazine, is that I want to be able to take those complex issues and topics, not make them overly technical, but really kind of demystify them, but break them down from complexity, make them a little bit more understandable, especially related to global and standards, inspection protocols, make that more readily available for a larger audience. Because in addition to people within our industry that I want to make sure that I am engaging and talking with, I also need to make sure that there are other people out there to make a larger global audience than just people who work within or adjacent to coatings and corrosion. The other thing that I want to do is I really want to honor the evolution of coatings and corrosion science and have that transition into what the future looks like. So to kind of look at that legacy side of it, and then get into the global side of integrity and really bridging everything that's international, looking at standards, best practices, even different perspectives that are globally out there in asset protection. And then when it comes to strategic surface thinking, as I wrote this down, connecting the material science side, the engineering, and the business economics of coatings and corrosion, and really kind of pulling that all together with what we would call long-term infrastructure resilience to kind of bridge everything together to showcase how things are handled when it comes to protecting, preserving assets out there. That we have a lot of this information out there, but it seems to be siloed, disconnected, and just in all different directions, and nothing seems to be pulled together. So if that's possible, it's something I would definitely love to be able to do. And then I think another area too is what I call field-tested wisdom. Evaluating, again, best practices, evaluating lessons that come from the field, especially related to inspection, NDT or non-destructive testing, and field applications, and to really kind of bring that into something that's very understandable for everybody. Like I said earlier, what is on paper doesn't always mean it's going to work exactly that way in the field. And so to kind of showcase that there is sometimes that disconnect, but not make it a negative thing, make it more of an understanding that things on paper sometimes change, and that's okay in the field as long as the outcome is a safe outcome. It's a positive outcome. It's going to be a lasting outcome versus something that we just had a problem and we did the best we could. So some of the reoccurring themes that I really see happening in there is related to global standards and collaboration. And that's really showcasing a lot of the harmonization that's going on right now with ISO, AMP, even like ICRI, and some of those really kind of, let's say, national frameworks, global frameworks, both in coatings and corrosion, to really kind of show how a lot of the organizations are working together. Innovation and inspection and non-destructive testing. As I mentioned earlier, I want to really kind of explore the aspects of intelligent technologies when it comes to digital twins, robotics, even AI-enhanced inspection workflows, engineering for longevity. The coating systems that are really advanced are being designed to give longer life cycles, to be able to handle more extreme conditions when it comes to more local environmental conditions. Let's say when it comes to certain processes like biofuels and things like that. And also corrosion strategies really for life cycle performance and sustainability. Breaking down all of those things when it comes. And then a circular thinking too, I think really focusing on sustainability, the circular economy, material reuse, and even the aspects of still today, we do have some of with carbon capture, that hasn't really gone away. So there are people definitely carbon conscious when it comes to protective coatings. So, when I kind of put some taglines together, maybe you should go through those too. And so some of the taglines I put together for brand identity, the first one I have is global insights for surface protection and strategic integrity. And then I have one for engineering, where engineering meets economics and corrosion control, protective coatings, strategic clarity, field-tested wisdom. One I like here, the business of coatings told in layers, and that's going to be in the aspect of the business side of it. And I like this one, from spec to strategy, the voice of global protection, to really kind of focus on the global aspect of protection, but also too when it comes to specifications and making sure there are more global specifications than something, again, a lot of that cut and paste still happens, and that could be frustrating, but eventually specifications, I do believe, will become more strategically addressed in the industries. So we do have some posts on here, but it looks like we've got stuff in Spanish. What I'm going to do is just leave that on there, and then people can read it because there's some pretty lengthy ones on there. But that's what I really want to cover today about Coatings Talk Insight. Like I say, the plan right now is to launch the digital magazine in January. I will be providing more additional information during the Coatings Talk Symposium. I'll probably do a 15-minute to 30-minute preview of the edition, hopefully by that time, but we'll see. But I'll at least be able to give an overview of what's going to be in that first issue. And then also too, how people can participate, because I don't want to make it's a Jim Kunkel only thing. I want to make sure that I'm the guy who's going to be putting it together, promoting it, and making it out there for everyone. Really what I want is industry collaboration with it. So what I'm going to look for are people who are going to be frequent collaborators with it, contribute to it, also to participate in the digital magazine. And I think I'm really looking forward to launching this and making Coatings Talk Insight become that digital magazine that I thought of about over a year ago. But I did delay it because of a lot of things that were going on. But I think now is the time to launch it in 2026. So in closing, what I highly recommend everybody to do is, after this broadcast ends, make sure that you go to my profile on LinkedIn. At the top of my profile for my post, you'll see the Coatings Talk Symposium. Please make sure that you do register for that. And if you want to participate, please submit to me a abstract for me to review and have you participate within the December 2nd symposium. So everyone, I greatly appreciate. Have a good rest of your evening, your night, or morning, no matter where in the world you're watching this broadcast. Thank you, everybody.